Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasthaya Se. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Pandit Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Narayana, Shivasate Bhakta Krishna. Pandit Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Narayana, Shivasate Bhakta Krishna. Gopala Govinda Rama, Krishna Madana Mohana, Krishna Gopala Govinda Rama, Krishna Madana Mohana. Rama, Madana Mohana, Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Sarupaya, Hare Krishna Prestaya Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Sarupaya, Hare Krishna Prestaya.
So in our study program, the main focus should be remembrance, to remember God. Forgetfulness of God or Krsna will put us in ignorance, and we will be focusing in this world of suffering. So I'll read to you here the teachings of our instructing spiritual master so we can be guided. So, in a nutshell, transcendental remembrance of the Supreme Person, of our Father, our friend, our Mother, our Master, the Supreme Person, will be a transcendental experience that when we look at the form of the Supreme Person, we listen to His holy names and remember His pastimes, the mind begins to be focusing and our heart begins to long for that connection that is held through remembrance. And remembrance comes from God Himself through chanting the holy names, the Maha Mantra. So, all of us here, every day, we remember. And our experience in this world makes us, experience. We feel we have this in our heart as a living entity. We detest, we don't like to even think or see or imagine or what comes will be paining or suffering for us. But if we are able to listen and hear the basic understanding of the difference between life and matter with a person transcendental to this body, then we can gauge and check if what we're remembering, what we're focusing, is eternally connected to us. All the sufferings that we experience through this body are temporary. But we experience that because we are encumbered in this body. So, what happened was, we've been looking at this world. So the advice of our instructing spiritual master is look at Lord Krsna. Because our face or our meditation is focused upon this world, this body, and the experience that we are now experiencing because of our material disease, that for so long we have been bemuddled and in this material world, and what we have experienced is connected with all the experience through sensual pleasure. But in reality, as a person, we have this hope in our heart. Is there a way out here? Is there a place wherein I can be peaceful? But because our remembrance is all focused and recall of what we have experienced in our mind, and it's all painful. Death of a loved one, being left by our loved ones, it's all painful. And then we want to run away. Well, how can I get out of this? If your body is inflicted with cancer, you don't want to experience the pain. Or COVID-19, you experience the pain. But with the process of remembering the Supreme Person, we, the individual in this body, can experience alleviation. That yes, I'm experiencing the pain in this body, and if the pain is so much, Krsna arranged it. I go into forgetfulness and coma. But the living entity, we can be in a world that is connected with devotional service. And it is important to remember always what is transcendental, our eternal loving relationship with God. That's why it's very important to follow the first instruction of Lord Krsna. We must be hearing and listening and studying and focusing our meditation upon the instruction of His confidential loving friend. All of you stay in your room here in Madana Mohana Academy because of your upbringing and your experience of this world, of your bodily identification, of belongingness to this family, to this municipality, or to this certain race or certain identification with this body. So that's what you recall every day. But in your heart, in your struggle, you want to experience joy and happiness. So if you have this clear understanding, yes, through the remembrance I remember every day is connected with all the experiences I had experienced before. And it's all about worries, it's all about a longing for a shelter. But because we are always listening to the mind, we are advised now by Lord Krsna that we must be remembering His eternal transcendental pastimes. And how can we come to that point? By following the instruction of His confidential loving friend. Very simple. The teacher in spiritual life, how we can be understanding and knowing God is a spiritual master who is His confidential loving servant. So that is one qualification whom we should follow, someone who can teach us how to love God, who can introduce us to God, and that is the spiritual master. And who gives us that vision and understanding? God Himself. By the mercy of Lord Krishna, one comes in contact with the spiritual master. Even for a second, Krishna tells you, this is my representative. So, as students, as disciples of our spiritual master, what we should do is just simply pass on what we have understood, what we have realized, what we have heard from our spiritual master, what we have understood and apply it in our life and pass it on. We should not be posing as someone who can bring them to Krishna, because we are not, nobody is God, nobody is the supreme purifier. But there is a process, a key, a system that Krishna, a scientific process that He wants, a protocol that is based upon relationship. If you love the one I sent, then Krishna's pleased. Krishna's pleased, then you make progress towards that affection of rendering pure loving devotional service to Lord Krishna. It's not about understanding all the spiritual rules and everything. One simple process. Follow the instruction of His confidential loving friend. And now we'll read here the meditation of His confidential loving servant. So we should not fall to this idea in our mind of, because of our material contamination, that we're gonna purify everybody and save the world. What we should do is simply pass on what has been given to us. And it's up to Krishna if that person will take it. It's up to the Supreme Lord. It is a relationship. All what we have to do is pass on the science to all the living entities, all of you here, and let Krishna take care of everything. It's not, we should not be burdened, by carrying people on our backs. On our back, you carry all the problems of the people and play guru, then you have a problem. And we as students should be understanding that only the Supreme Person can protect us, can take care of us. And through the guidance of His confidential loving servant, the spiritual master, by following him, God is pleased. So I'll read to you here the instruction of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, in relationship with the pastimes of the gopis in Vrindavan, the consciousness of one who is a transcendentalist, one who is progressing towards this intimacy of serving the Supreme Person purely. So by the mercy of Lord Krishna, we all come to this process because He's always there. He's our eternal friend. Our Father, He's our Master. He loves us. Unconditional love. So you can check now if you have unconditional love for the Supreme Person. And the consciousness of the devotees, the pure loving servant, services the end itself. When they serve, there's nothing more to be gained. They just simply love and serve the Supreme Person. They chant His glories and focus their mind, their heart on the Supreme Person. And that meditation and remembrance frees us from the suffering of this world. While we are in this body being inflicted by the suffering inflicted upon this body, we can see. And we know we are eternal and the suffering we experience here is temporary. So instead of focusing on solving the temporary problem and trying to alleviate when we won't suffer in this body, what we should be focusing is the lackness of what is lacking. And what is that lacking? Our love as eternally the loving servant of God. Is it being focused? It is being addressed. And how to address it? It's remembrance. That's why Lord Krishna tells us, to those who constantly remember me, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. So now, it helps us. Krishna is always there helping us. We don't need to struggle to fight against the mind, but rather we should be remembering and directing ourselves in remembering Lord Krishna, and the mind follows. Just like the description, if you conquer the king, all the maidservants all the servants will be following, will be conquered. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, meaning nothing will be lost. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. What are we always fearful? What is, if you make progress in your understanding, what is your fear? Where you can take refuge, give your heart, your life. It's not about the death of this body anymore. You fear, how can I be in a stable, eternal situation? And you're sitting down there writing notes and everything, talking to your student. It is remembrance of Krsna, because he himself is addressing that problem that we have. He's gonna take the load. He'll embrace us. So this is all about relationship of friendship and love and care. But because for so long we've been contaminated and we are directed upon hearing and listening to the mind and the influence of the three modes of material nature, our shelter is a struggle of our own, just to struggle, to survive, to run away from the problem. But Krsna said, why don't you just take shelter of me and I'll protect you? And you said, wow, no, I'm gonna chuck it out, I've studied 20 years, I have this, title and diploma. I can make my own decision. But Krsna respects our will, our choice. Okay? You don't wanna get out of this burning world, You don't wanna get out of this hot desert, drowning there. I'll just wait for you, until you cry, Krsna, help me. Then Krsna will be there to embrace you. Unconditional love. But we must be remembering and be guided by the spiritual master. So all what we have to do is pass on the same message. You don't need to enter talk about the white milk or the ocean of milk. Our focus should be our heart, our life, our refuge, Krsna. We should not be diverted. We should be focusing upon the source, upon our friend, upon our Father, our Master. O son of Pirta, he tells, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet destruction, either in this world or the spiritual world. Meaning you'll be successful. That is his guarantee. But the mind will tell, no. You should not do your will, You're intelligent. You're bright. What? And you've been following the mind for so long, and so many so-called gurus, who are all drowning in the ocean of misery and anger and lust, who are manipulative and exploitative. And because we don't want to take the walk, we don't want to take the responsibility, we don't want to make a choice. I met someone with this group of friends of mine. They tell me, okay, let's do this for Srila Prabhupada. You know what did they tell me? No. Let someone decide for us. So if something happens, it's their fault. No, we must make that choice. And it's very simple, remembering God. Just remember me, surrender unto me, I'll protect you. That's why Lord Jesus Christ came here, to help us have a recall of the world we should be in, a world of relationship with the Father. You look at his prayer, into thy hands I commend my life. Let this cup pass as you will, not as I will. It's all about the glories of God. But when you're working in this world, all of us here, it's all about the glory of our so-called perfect decision to struggle and survive and to be accepted. We always think, what will the people say about us? What will they say? Will they be there when at the time you're going to enter the door of death? Nobody will be there except you. And when you don't have this remembrance of listening, through listening and understanding the transcendental science that puts us in the situation of perfect realization, I am the eternal loving servant of God. But the mind will tell, no, you're master kid. Look, the ad. You come a long way, babe. Make decision, That's why my friend tells me, no, it's very hard to find in America, all the girls they want to wear pants and the husband should be wearing skirts, And they put this women's right, women's liberation. Well, liberation about what? We should be liberated from this enslavement of following the mind, because that puts us in this predicament, in the world of oblivion, in the world of nothingness, because the shelter we have is really an illusion. The mind is not eternal, but you are eternal. And Krishna is always there, reminding us. You ask this question, why every time I hold the fire I get burned? Every time I put my heart and give it to someone, I experience pain, worries. You're worrying. Will she love me? What's happening now, in the house? My wife is there. Is there someone there? You look at the cell phone. Whom are you talking, It's always about worry and fear, But Krishna, when you take shelter of His instruction, you can take refuge and give your life, open your heart, your well-being. So I'll read to you the pastimes of the residents of Vrindavan, so that we should be remembering. Because while we're remembering it, while experiencing all the pains of this world, then we can take refuge and have this eternal refuge while we are struggling in this ocean of material misery, in muddling in all the desires that is being bombarded to us through the mind. So you become the witness of what's happening. People are dying. People are suffering, worry. Somebody died. You'll just be there watching. You will not be the actor or the person watching the movie and you think you are with the movie. You experience when somebody in the movie, watching them in the movie theater is so big, sense around. Before sense around, that even now there's this, when there's earthquake, there's earthquake, yeah? And you begin to become, I'm part of the movie. But you don't know that. Maya is very strong. Because we have been servants of Maya for long. And we've been shackled. And when we try to get out, squiggle out, Maya puts a lot of, okay, icing. No, you just stay here, You stay here. You're in this condition of goodness, rising suns, association, the music and everything is so calm. Stay here, kid. It's like you've been suffering for so long. It's like having a wife, who's a nagger, every time you see her, blah, 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 and then she leaves. You have divorce. And the mind tells you, why not look? Maya tells you, find someone who could be sweet talker, whom you can embrace and take shelter. Try it again another time, second time maybe sweeter. You go again, divorce, and the Maya will give you again another offering. While roaming around empty, somebody passes by. She can be my wife, the third time, on and on, eternally in this miserable world. Because we have identified ourselves with this body and the mind. So when you sit down and listen through the holy names that will purify you from this misgiving and misconception, you can be experiencing the first, foremost, basic spiritual realization. I'm not this body. I'm the witness of what's happening. And now you can make a choice. And Krishna tells us, why don't you embrace me, remember me? And Maya will tell you, no, you are the master. Try to embrace a dead body, Meditate upon the beautiful form of this world. She will not let you go off put so much in them. But Lord Krishna assures us, even one who is very sinful, who is less intelligent, if he takes to this path, this takes shelter of this path, which is remembrance and following the instruction of his confidential friend, as he has instructed, he can cross over this ocean of material misery. How is that? Because he's in control. He's guiding us to be in a world that is transcendental. And now we are in this world, experiencing this temporary, miserable world, and our life has been in meditation, in focusing about this miserable world that is not transcendental, that is alien to us. It's alien to us, this body. In a truest sense, nobody is a human being. In a truest sense, because you're not the body. So here I'll read to you, in a nutshell, how can we progress? Follow the instruction of Lord Krishna. One must search out a bona fide spiritual master, and he gave the qualification through the instructing spiritual master, giving us the guidance. Who is a bona fide spiritual master? Look at Lord Jesus Christ, the loving Son of God. Look at the Parampara. Look at all the great saintly person. Look at their focus, their mind, their meditation. There's this story even in the Bible. You know Daniel? No, they put him in this cage. All the ferocious animals are there. The lions, the tiger. But his meditation is transcendental. But nobody can explain that. Nobody can explain that, because the people who are our teachers, they are not self-realized and cannot understand the difference between matter and life and relationship with God. Instead of explaining it, that Daniel is in a situation of remembering God, transcendental to this miserable, that tigers and lions can eat his body, but he will not die. How can they explain that when they're teaching you, you are the body? Understand? And you listening to these people who are blind, who have no spiritual understanding, you'll be confused. You will not have this shelter, because the shelter of listening to these people will be the shelter of illusion. You will be following the temporary mind. And those people, where do they get their teachings? From their pigment of imagination, which is also not eternal and temporary, through their experience with their mind, under the influence of material nature. So how can we become free if we follow someone who is also encumbered, who is also in jail? So what we're doing here, we're not playing games here. You know, you think I like to speak to you here because I like to speak? No. Because time is moving. And we've been here for so long, eating mud, muddling in shit, and we're suffering. And we are being reminded to be told the truth. Hey kid, you're suffering, you're not God. You're a thief. You're crazy. But society, you know, they try to put this, you know, I'm intelligent, you know. You don't even know your head from your ass, you know. But, you know, I have this diploma, you know. And the whole time, what do we always do? Our life here. We want to be accepted by the people who are drowning or also blind. They cannot even see you. You look, I want to be famous, you know. Everybody will be clapping, you know. He's a good man. But they don't even see you. Do they see your mind? Do they see your heart? I'm talking to you here. You're trying to grasp what I'm trying to say with your ears, listening. So these people who are blind, they don't even see you. That's why it's very important to follow someone who is the supreme controller, our eternal friend, God. But because we have been so conditioned for so long to do our will, every time we are being told the truth, we cringe. I don't like that because of the influence of Maya. Maya pulls us. No, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Embrace me, you know. You know. Let's play with the devil. That's our life because we want to do our will. We are not experiencing this rendering pure devotional service. Our heart, our whole being. Krishna, please take care of me. For so long, I'm selfish, I'm envious, I don't know where to go. But I heard from my spiritual master that if I simply remember you, I'll be protected. Then one's heart, one's whole being can be directed upon that. So I'll read to you the pastimes of the gopis in Vrindavan before we part ways. Hindi, nakala yung babasahin ko sa. So look, what are our attraction? Here now in this conditional world. Conditional because of our bringing, the environment has a great effect upon our consciousness. What are our consideration? What are our consideration while we're in this body? We want a stable income, a stable job. Yeah? We want material things. Nothing wrong with that. But we should not be in illusion that it will give us real protection. That's why the more we listen to the holy names of Lord Krishna, the more we get attracted to sweet Lord Krishna. We begin to realize what we're longing for is simply a connection with doing the will of God. That is the purpose of the spiritual master coming here, to teach us how to do the will of God. It's not by force, but rather wherein we ourselves make this decision. I want to serve and love my eternal friend, Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna tells us, just surrender unto me and I'll protect you. To those who are constantly devoted unto me, I give them the understanding by which they can come unto me. Whatever state of mind one remembers at the time of death, that state he will attain. So if this process of remembering God, the holy names, we make an effort, there is no loss. It's auspicious because it's eternal. The relationship with God is always about caring and love. And that is what we can experience for our spiritual master. My spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Jagad Guru Siddhaswarup, our Gurudev, he tells us that when we come in contact with the bona fide spiritual master in the beginning, we don't see and appreciate. But he tells us, you know, what you're facing is not an easy, hurdle, because you're facing Maya, you've been serving Maya or illusion for so long that even while you're chanting, you're remembering, you get diverted. But he assures us, you have Krishna and all the instructing spiritual master and Paramatma to assist you. All you have to do is turn your face towards Lord Krishna. Our face is turned away from Lord Krishna because of our experience and remembrance for so long of doing our own will. We're always looking at the wrong direction. And Krishna tells us, why don't you look at my beautiful face? You're angry? Krishna, I'm angry. I cannot do what I want, I'm always in suffering. And when you look at the face of Lord Krishna, who is the Lord of love, your anger subsides. You begin to see how you're so weird, So that is the process, remembrance. And that comes from doing the will of God. And in this age, we are given this guidance, the remembrance of following the instruction of His dear loving servant. So we're very safe. Lord Krishna tells us, saints are my heart and I'm their heart. I'm always thinking of them, they're always thinking of me. So the question now is, all of us here, who are demons, who are envious of God, if we follow this path, the demons of today of today, us, can be saints of tomorrow. Why not be saint now? Kasi the idea of saint is someone who wears this white robe, walk like locking wings, flying like an angel, That is not what we're talking here about. We're talking here about being established in that world of continual remembrance of pleasing God and reciprocating with His will and His desire that gives us pleasure because He's the source. It's like watering the root of the tree. It's like giving food to the stomach. Simply serve Krishna. In the beginning, look at the story we have heard. The hunchback. She's hunchback. And Krishna saw her in a pastime. Step on her. And immediately, she has this straight body because of association with Lord Krishna. But because her profession, she's a prostitute. She want to please Lord Krishna. She's lusty. And it's described her that she is so lusty, but when she saw Krishna and embraced Lord Krishna, her lust is gone. In the beginning, the relationship is not pure. But because we come in contact with the Supreme Purifier, that relation becomes pure. In the beginning, it's all about, Lord, what can I get from you? I want to get free from this suffering. But when you make progress, wow, you begin to enter that world of just simply doing loving service and rendering loving service to the Supreme Person. And when you're not in that situation, you begin to get worried. I have to serve Krishna. The mind tells you, bombarded with so many desires, problems coming in, just simply think Krishna, and everything is solved. Because we begin to look at Lord Krishna, the Supreme Purifier, the cause of all causes. He will take shelter of us. But we must do the walk. Nobody can walk for you. That's why it's very important that we must understand that the spiritual master gives us guidance. That is the reason Krishna, through his instructing spiritual master, none different from him, write all these literatures so we can understand the science. Because he is giving us this opportunity again to make a choice based upon our free will, upon rendering loving service, upon engaging in austerity to please someone, this time the Supreme Person, and it pleases Him. We must make the choice. It's not what these people are telling us. If you don't serve God, you don't join the group, you're gonna burn in this ocean of burning oil, eternally jumping and jumping, not dying. You must be saved. This is nonsense. This is psychological intimidation from people who are salvationists who do not know what is love. Love is unconditional. And the spiritual master is our eternal friend. God is our eternal friend. He loves us unconditionally. He's always there, waiting for us. Who are all, trying to play God. Who are envious of God. To do our own will. To be accepted by all these blind people who cannot even see us. To be guided by blind people who doesn't know the path. So now we must make this choice. Become responsible. Are you going to give your life, which is so precious? You don't want to, most of us, we don't want to do anyone's will. But how can we follow all the will of these so-called blind people, these blind people who are not connected, who doesn't even know God? Because we are so contaminated to doing this material disease of lordship. The more we hear about God, I'm not the controller, and my love cannot be satisfied because I'm not self-sufficient, but because we have been influenced by Maya, and Maya's embrace us. No, let's play, let's dance with the devil, And when we hear the truth, we cringe. I don't like that. And the people who are trying to play Lord, what? You gonna leave our congregation? You gonna join this religion? They worship an Indian God. They don't even know what they're saying. They don't even know what they're thinking. Their head is bemuddled with ignorance and mad that they're wallowing under this shitty world, not blinded. But they think they're very intelligent. I'm intelligent, A person who's intelligent should see the problem that we are all facing. We're facing death. We're going to leave everything. We're suffering birth, death, disease, and knowledge. And these people, what will be their guidance? What will be our protection if we follow all these blind people who are also dying, suffering diseases, who are also in jail? But we want to follow them. You know why? Because we want to do our will. We want to enjoy. And the devotee comes. It's like, when a thief sees a policeman, he has this, I'm doing something wrong. So when you come in contact with the Supreme Purifier, especially coming in contact with the devotee of God, you begin to see what separates you from God. It's your own will. Because you don't love God. You love yourself. And the center of our life is ourselves. And it's based upon ignorance of this body. We want to protect this body. That you cannot even see that Maya has bemodeled your mind. That even though the arm that you protect with your body, you're going to leave it. But I'm going to stay in this room, in this dark room alone. All alone and die alone by myself. So be it. What can we do? But there is a science, a process, which is based upon love and care, about affection, wherein we can have refuge, we can give our heart, and that is guided by our instructing spiritual master, Lord Jesus Christ, giving us an example of his life, how he's sheltered, how he's protected. If you have Krsna, you have everything. If you have all the zero, you put Krsna, then it has value. Our life, what is the value of our life? It is a struggle to take hold, to control, to experience what is temporary. Let's be real. It's not we speak to you here because we feel better than you. No. Because we were given by our spiritual master, by Krsna, that we should speak the truth. Not get followers, not to feel higher than anybody and be sanctimonious, to decide who will be with Krsna, but rather speak the truth. So that person who is a bona fide spiritual master will make a stand to speak the truth. That's why our instructing spiritual master, one of our instructing spiritual master, you know what he said? I can lose everything, all the temples, everything that's here. Hope one person can understand and become a loving servant of God. So you ask this question with yourself, whom you're following. Our leaders, our so-called religious leader whom we're following, are really they giving us something? Or they're just taking from us? Can we put our heart, our life in their hands? Then we're fools. If we follow someone who's blind, who is also dying, who's also suffering in this world, we become manipulated because we want to manipulate. We want to do our own will. When you come to the point, the living entity, the consciousness of the pure loving servant, my dear Lord, let this cup pass as you will. And he teaches everybody, one must love the Supreme Father with one's heart, thy whole being. And second unto that, you'll be loving others. How do you love others? By giving them material things? No. Speaking them the truth. So they can make the choice to get out of this hellish condition. So you can see the spiritual master just speaks the truth. He's not after followers. Why worry about followers? They're gonna die anyway. What you should do is listen to your spiritual master and pass it on. So the spiritual master, one qualification of the spiritual master, he can save everyone from death. If you cannot save anyone from death, then you should not pose as a spiritual master and lead people into oblivion, away from the sweetness of rendering loving service, the will of God. It's not an easy task, because we've been serving ourselves and illusion for so long. So you check It's a study program that you should check. First, you analyze why you're here, why you're gonna die anyway. Leave everything behind. Are you really happy in your heart? Who is your shelter? Whom are you following? Is someone whom you're following can give you a sustainable, substantial, eternal understanding and shelter? That is a spiritual master. He gives you Krsna, sustainable relationship eternally. Not this joining of groups, not this following allegiance to this person. No. That's why when somebody came to my spiritual master, I want to join. What will you join? You want to join the baseball club? There is no joining because we're eternally connected. Spirit, soul, children of God. And that connection in harmony with that word of pure devotional service that is transcendental, that is why He comes. His devotee comes to show us a process that can purify us. You don't need to struggle anymore. You're swimming in this ocean, drowning. They pick you up. Come, ride on this boat. No. The boat, I don't want to ride. No, they embrace you. Then it's now a choice we can make. Nobody can make a choice for you. No, you will be responsible for your action. Now take this responsibility to please God, to do the will of God, to embrace God, because He's always there waiting for us. Get out of this illusion. My family, my son, my body, none of us are human beings. We are all eternally connected as eternally the loving servant of God. To be with God, serving Him eternally. That is the reason He comes, to establish religion. And what is that religion? Our eternal, loving service that is connected with His will. Not joining religion, so-called religion, I belong to this religion. That is an impediment and hindrance. It is maya or illusion to be in ignorance. He gives us, how can you enjoy? For example, you want to enjoy, you want to play Lord. So maya is there. She's the bopper, kicks your ass, blinds you, so you can enjoy mud in each stool, modeling stool, like a maggot. But if you can see, will you jump in the septic tank, take a bath there? If you know that's shitty, you don't do that. So the spiritual master is the light. He comes. He's the light, like the sun. You can see. But we want to, you have seen this rat? We have this rat coming from China, He's smelly, even the cats won't eat him, He just under, what? He just goes there, every day. He looks for worms. And somebody tells you, hey, I love to kiss, she's really beautiful. I can drink saliva, all the bacteria, Why do you brush your teeth every day? Because there's so much bacteria on your mouth when you eat, all the acid. If you only can take off the skin, hold your brain, see. But it's hard because we're not all powerful. We have decided to play God. Krsna gives us His body. Okay, play God, dominator. But there's a catch. It's like this. I read a lot of, when I was a kid, I used to read this. Okay, the devil tells you, you can enjoy the world. You can have everything for 10 years. And after 10 years, you belong to me. And you gamble. I'm gonna do that. That's what we do. We identify with the body, we gamble. But in this case, at the time, you're in illusion. You already lost the opportunity because you become encumbered and enslaved. What I'm telling you, don't sell yourself to the devil, because that is a disconnection with the source of love. And the science of transcendental remembrance of hearing the holy names will bring us to that world. Now, that is a choice you can make. So, whom you will listen, that's up to you. That's your freedom. So, Haribol, namaste.
Haribol Krishna. Siddhaswarupananda,
Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasayate.